Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar from Waves Commercial Audio. This is how to improve audio in audio video installations. And we're looking forward to sharing with you some of the information about our new product. We'll be taking questions later on in the webinar directly live from you. And so be aware that we will use the chat window for that. In the meantime, if you don't mind making sure that your video and audio is muted at all times, that would be great. Helps us all out with the bandwidth. A couple of things we'll be going through on the webinar today. I want to introduce you if you don't already know about Waves. I want to share with you a little bit about who we are and of course, talk quite a bit about our new commercial audio product. I'll give you a good overview of it, talk about some of the neat features of the product, the presets, how you can route the product in Dante-based installations, and of course, take your questions. So we're going to cover a lot of ground. Feel free to use the chat box later on as we open up for questions. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump in to our first slide, which we're going to tell you a little bit here about Waves. I'd like to let you know, if you're not already familiar with Waves, we've been around for many, many years, and of course been very, very well known in the recording and post-production space, of course, live sound and touring, broadcast, and of course, other areas, and consumer electronics, and now professional installed sound. Really what I'm here to share with you today is how we're going to use Waves CA products to bring studio or CD quality audio to your installations. Waves is very well known for our plugins. They're some of the core of many of our products. And the plugins that we'll be talking about today are part of those collections. I'll be introducing you to a few of them if you're not familiar with them. This is just a shot of some of the more popular plugins that many of our customers are using. So before I jump in, what I wanted to do was just go ahead, turn off my camera here, so that way you can see the slides in full screen mode. And also it saves a little bit of bandwidth here for us as we are having many people join this webinar tonight. So let me go ahead and turn off my camera, and then we'll go ahead and start the rest of the presentation. The Waves CA products are new products for Waves. We have two products to introduce you to, the CA1000 and the CA2000. Both products are professional DSP engines that will improve the audio quality across any type of AV installation, especially using the Dante network. We will talk about how we route our signals in via Dante. I'd like to point out that the two products that we have, the CA1000 is a 1U half rack mount system. The CA2000 is a 2U half rack mount system. Both of those have shelf rack hardware available so that you can mount one or two devices in the same rack shelf space. So for some installations where you might be covering multiple zones and would like additional processing, you could actually combine units on the same shelf rack space. The CA1000, the 1U unit, handles 16 by 16 Dante streams. The CA2000 handles 64 by 64. Wave CA products are built on a proven platform architecture. We have taken products that we have used for many years in many different parts of the globe and many different industries, and merged these products together very specifically for the waves or for the commercial audio population. And some of these markets we'll talk about, but the main thing is that our products are built on top of the Wave Super Rack plug-in rack controller. We'll talk about that here and show you some examples. We use a number of very well architected premium plugins that are very specific for the install sound community. Things that will help you with your speech microphones, your audio playback of playback devices. Everything is combined in Wave CA with the Dante Virtual Sound Card, the DVS system, to make routing easy for your existing install networks. Some of the installations where we see the Wave CA products being used are meeting rooms that are in auditoriums or government community centers, educational, maybe church halls, places where a microphone or multiple microphones are going to be used with a basic PA system is an ideal location. We've had a number of customers talk to us about using the Wave CA products in fitness centers or gymnasiums where high energy music is used, and perhaps a single microphone and an instructor have very little control other than an on-off button and a volume, but they have issues with having different levels of music depending on the type of device that's being used or different songs on the same device. And in those situations, the Wave CA products have an excellent solution in our playback preset that we'll be sharing with you here shortly. Another area where this is useful is in restaurants or bars or hotel lobbies, anywhere that there's a background type of ambient music that needs to be part of the install and doesn't have any sort of hands-on control. House of worship, of course, I mentioned, and other specialty installations, cruise ships and casinos are popular areas for these types of installations. An example of the background music, this is probably a very simple example for you to understand how the Wave CA product integrates in to your network. In this particular example, we have a client who's using a web streaming PC or application where they also have the Dante controller to handle the routing on their network. Without Wave CA, the PC streaming the audio would go directly through the switch to the PA or the amplifier, and in this case, ceiling speakers. By inserting the Wave CA product into the network and adding a background music playback preset, they're able to get automatic leveling of the audio, which gives them a smooth and consistent audio signal no matter what the source is coming in from that web PC. So if some music is naturally louder or softer, the Wave CA engine will automatically level it without coloring or squashing the audio coming through the system. As I mentioned, this is a relatively simple diagram, but it helps you understand as we go to a little more complex setup how Wave CA will operate in the network. So we started earlier with the single system doing playback music, and now we've added some additional components to that network, such as handheld mics or wireless mics, the audio player. And then these components may have a separate system controller in the Dante controller The Dante controller may be another element in the network, but there's some elements in your install, which of course is setting up the routing for the network between the Dante devices. In this case, the Wave CA DSP engine is being used to provide speech intelligibility, reduce background noise, reduce feedback, and of course, what we already talked about, help the audio streaming by having the automatic leveling of that audio playback. What we find is that there's a dramatic improvement in the speech intelligibility, the ability to hear what the person speaking in the microphone is saying, no matter what the type of room size, because of the processing that's taking place in the Wave CA product. At the core of CA1000 and CA2000 is our preset library. The preset library includes 19 professionally curated presets. These are plugin chains that address the typical audio challenges that you face when you're installing a system. As I mentioned, speech intelligibility is something we hear about often. Many of the systems today don't do a good job of taking the sound from the microphone and giving it to the PA system without you having to do massive EQ changes or find ways to eliminate feedback in the room. Wave CA helps you with that. Wave CA provides consistent audio level control, and all of this we do with superior audio output quality. We also have in the Wave CA product some professional presets that are built for online streaming. In today's world, we definitely see customers that want to be able to take their audio that's in their conference room and also be able to stream it online for a public audience. A good example might be a government community center that's holding a conference roundtable, and they want to be able to also have that streamed publicly so that that information is available immediately to their online audience. And so we do offer presets in the Wave CA product that also address this need, and it's immediately available for you just by adding routing to your Dante installation to go to this preset chain. One of the great things about our preset library is that any changes that you need to make to optimize it for your installation are instantly saved for you, so that when you have the system come back live, or if for some reason it loses power, all of your presets are saved as you've kept them. And it's not necessary for you to go back in and manually change anything, nor is it necessary for your client to know anything about the system. It's all built in and all comes up exactly as you've set it up in the system. On this slide, I have a list of our presets. This is a very high-level list. We're, of course, going to dive in a little bit more detail into a couple of these chains. There's mic processing chains, which cover a large variety of microphones. Of course, these are, the workhorse of the installation business. So whether you're working with lav mics or handheld mics, head-worn mics, we cover quite a few different types of microphones. Our subgroup processing handles groups of microphones, the playback group that I mentioned earlier, as well as a specialized processing for music ducking. This is very useful if you have a playback channel, perhaps in a retail or restaurant establishment, and you need to make announcements periodically over that playback. This automatically handles the ducking of the music for you so that you would just be routing your audio to this stream, and then it would take care of the processing for you. We have presets that handle the main PA outputs, whether you're using subs or not using subs. We have some professional presets that are ready to go out of the box for your installation. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have several different selections for streaming, including one that's more geared towards podcasting if your client wants to be setting up their streams for use in podcasts. What I'd like to do is dive into these in a little more detail. I do want to also highlight that on the mic processing, we have the ability on the mics to also interface in the Dugan auto mixing capability. If you're not familiar with Dugan, Dugan is a master at handling multiple microphones in a group setting. Some examples might be a roundtable discussion, a conference panel, maybe some other sort of corporate or government regulatory meeting where you have 3, 4, maybe 6 microphones all on a table or in a near proximity to each other. And if you've set that up before, you know there's the potential of cross mic comb filtering or of course feedback, and just voices just sound, they don't sound right if multiple microphones are picking them up simultaneously. Rather than just having you have to figure out how to manage that type of setup, if you have an installation that includes a conference table or multiple microphones, you can easily invoke the Dugan auto mixing capability. And this will dramatically reduce the background noise, the comb filtering, crosstalk between microphones, as it works by effectively being a hands-on, without your hands-on, of the mixing between the microphones. So it effectively brings the levels up and down of each microphone as the person is speaking in it without affecting the sound of their particular voice, and by effectively bringing down the gain on the other people's mics. So this is available for you to select as you need it on the microphone channels, and is very effective if you have a group of microphones in your installation. So how does this all work? Well, we need to patch your Dante network signal into the WaveCA system. And of course, internal to the WaveCA system, depending on whether you have a system with 16 or 64 possible racks and presets, you have the ability to select for each rack, for each set of presets, which Dante channel you would like to route to it. And so in this example screenshot, you'll see that I have 16 Dante channels available as my input, and I would have the same type of selection for the output of this stream. And so I can select either the same, I can go 1-to-1, or of course I can also route in one particular Dante stream and out another Dante stream. This works in parallel with what should be familiar for you, the Dante controller. And so on the Dante controller, when I'm setting up my routing, I would see the Dante DVS that lives in the WaveCA product. And in this case, you see the 16 channels that I would have on a CA1000, and I'm able to route those to my other Dante devices. to and from. So between the two screens, you would have your Dante controller, which you may be running either natively as the Dante controller in your network, or perhaps you have it implemented as another controller on your installation. And you would then set up each stream into the CA on the particular stream that you would like to use. So these two work together so that you have exactly the audio stream you want coming to exactly the preset that you select. Let's talk about the presets a little bit, because these are core to the CA system. As I mentioned earlier, these presets have been built by professionals in the industry that set these up for lowest latency, in many cases zero latency, and to have the least coloration of the original audio. So this will give you the cleanest and most pristine output with the processing that gives you very little delay or latency through the system. The first example I'll show you is our preset for the speech mic. The system comes out of the box with these settings, and in most cases, you won't have to make any changes to the settings. They will be ready to go. But if you choose for your installation to make any changes, they're able to be saved, so you can have those changes be there all the time. We built the speech mic preset to fix some of the most common problems in microphones when used on a stage or in a fitness center, in small rooms, large rooms. And it's really designed for a number of different types of microphones, being handheld mics or table mics. You'll see that we have other presets for wireless lavalier type microphones or headset microphones. But this one is more for the handheld or table mic. This, as I mentioned, could also be combined if you have multiple mics around a round table, such as in this photo. You can also combine it with the Dugan auto mixing capability to automatically control the levels on all the microphones simultaneously. So what's this preset look like? I have a few screenshots of the actual plugins used in the preset. In the preset chain for the speech mic, there are 4 plugins. The first plugin is the 4-band paragraph equalizer called Q4. This is a equalizing plugin that has 0 latency. It does not color the sound at all. And it's used to roll off some of the low-end frequencies. These are things that are pretty typical on handheld mics. The rumble that you get, if it's a table mic, some of the sounds that the mic may hear, such as thumping on the table. So it will reduce those sounds right at the front end of the processing chain. The second plugin in the speech mic preset is the Renaissance Vox plugin. This is a very easy plugin to use, but it provides a lot of capability, and it's specifically selected here to do some very light dynamic processing with some compression and limiting, and it effectively smooths out the vocal dynamics. It tames anything that comes out in the speech that's loud or overly dynamic. It doesn't squash it. It just does some light processing to it to make it a little bit easier to send through the system, again, without making the PA take on a very dynamic speaking voice. Third in the chain is our Sibilance Live plugin. As the name suggests, The Sibilance plugin handles the S or sh sounds of microphones. It's transparent to the vocal chain. It basically removes those sounds, and again, without any latency. So all of these plugins are being done effectively live as the speech or the speech mic or the speaker is speaking. So there's no delay getting the voice to the PA in the room. The final plugin on our speech mic preset chain is our floating band dynamic equalizer, the F6. This just adds a little bit extra polish to the speaker's voice, and it really helps bring together the entire chain so that the entire chain processing the mic gives it just a new sound, a new sparkle that you probably would not get with any other type of processing. This is the speech mic processing chain and one example of what comes included with the Wave CA products. Of course, you can change any of these parameters and save them. Most people would just start with the parameters exactly as they are out of the box. Let me talk about another preset, and then we'll start opening up to your questions. The playback group preset is a very popular one for Wave CA because this allows your installations to have a consistent volume level, a consistent sound, no matter the type of device and the sound tracks that are coming through the stream. So whether you're doing an install with a restaurant or a fitness center, retail establishment, or a house of worship, all of these installations will typically use playback devices that could have all types of different audio source files come into them. And of course, without any type of control, they're going to see all kinds of results and come back to you asking why some things sound good, some things don't sound good. And of course, this helps smooth out that entire playback process for the install and does it again without squashing things, so they're not overly compressed. They don't sound like it's just gone through one massive compressor. How does this work? The playback group processing chain uses 3 plugins. The first plugin, as you would expect, is a compressor, but it's not doing significant compression. It's just a little bit of moderate compression just to handle the sources that are way too hot to begin with. So we want to make sure that the first place that the plugin hits is anything that's coming in it that's just overly hot on the signal chain. The real gem, if you will, of the playback group preset chain is the Playlist Writer plugin. Playlist Writer provides automatic leveling of all audio sources that gives you just a consistent audio level throughout the program, and it doesn't, again, add any coloration to the sound. This is really an amazing plugin. When you work with it, you will see that it's very easy to set up your preset based on what your installation requires, and then you won't need to look at it again once your client is happy with it. This preset will remain and handle any type of audio stream that is given to it. And again, it's perfect for that background music or playback scenario. The last part of the chain, similar to the speech mic, is the F6. Again, this dynamic equalizer helps just take additional steps to make that sound just really shine as it comes through to the PA system. So 3 plugins on this chain, all very low latency, and all can be adjusted and customized as you need to make the sound in your hall the most optimal they can be. I've spent a few minutes introducing you to the Waves CA products. These, of course, are high quality DSP engines. We believe they'll help you bring studio or CD quality audio to your installation. They're easy to install, and they have a good number of professional presets that will get you started and probably 99% of the way without making any changes other than routing your signals using the Dante network. They're easily customized, and I really look forward to talking with you guys and seeing what types of installations you'll be working with and how we may be able to help you out here. What I'd like to do is open up for questions. I'm going to go ahead and get my camera back on here. And what I'd like to do is invite you to ask questions in the chat box. I'll take a look through those and answer them as best I can. As you know, there's being a new product, I may not have all the answers for you, but I'm going to do my best to answer as many as I can. I do want to make a note, if you're a dealer and you'd like to get more information, of course, contact your sales contact, your Wave salespeople for more details. If you want to become a dealer, if you're interested in selling Wave CA products, contact me directly. My email is on the screen, and I can help you out getting in touch with the right people at Waves. So I'm going to take some time here, take a quick look through the questions that are coming in and seeing if I can go through these pretty quick. Okay. Start back here. All right. A question from Indroan on is the Wave CA based on Windows or Linux? And the answer for that is it's a Windows-based system. We use SuperRack native as we have for many other installations. And on top of that is, of course, the Waves plugins and the Dante DVS driver, all optimized to work together and have the presets as they've been designed. But short answer, it's all based on the Windows operating environment. Okay, let me see. Next question I have here is down here, following through the chat. From Jonathan, what is the average latency considering that we're using Dante DVS on Windows? And the answer to that is, because our plugins are our preset chains are effectively zero. They might be, a few samples more depending on exactly the chain you're using. The latency is really being driven by the Dante network, which, if I remember correctly, is about 6 milliseconds. And so the latency of the system is more or less going to be what you're getting over the Dante network without us adding additional latency to it. But we could certainly talk, more directly about what you're looking at and the type of installation, get a little more details on that as well. So I hope that helps you out there, Jonathan. Let me see what else I have on here as I go through the chat. Looks like there's a couple of questions here related. Let's see, I think Abel, I'm not sure. The question is there any ARC capabilities? And with the current product, we don't have a those capabilities built in at this point. It's something that we are looking at and trying to determine the best way to implement that. Let's see what else I have here. Here's an interesting question from Mitch. He asked, can other Waves plugins be added? Excellent question. And the answer to that is what we ship is a set of plugins that we feel are most useful for the install environment, and of course also have the lowest latency. If there are particular plugins that you feel should be included, definitely let me know that. There are possibilities there to put those in, but because everything is integrated directly so that you don't have to install or activate anything yourself, there's a few more steps there than just hooking up the system to Wave Central as you might do with another type of Wave system. So hopefully that answers your question. There are ways to look at other plugins. We should chat directly about what you have in mind there. Another question from Brian: can the CA line of servers be used with a console for broadcast and front of house on a Dante network, as in using Dante IOs for insert points? Not really designed for that with the CA products. It could be done. It's certainly conceivable. You're going to have really the same tools you have with our standard products, and it does give you perhaps the ease of use with Dante. So Brian, I would definitely recommend that we talk, maybe reach out to one of our product specialists and see exactly what you have in mind with your particular broadcast console and network, and it might be a fit. We might have some other suggestions with some of our other products, what might work better there. Let's see, scroll through here, see what else I have on the questions. Good question here. JR is asking, does it have any GPIO to trigger preset or any of the other things? And a quick answer there, we currently on the CA products do not have GPIO interfaces. Again, this first product release, we're really putting the sound quality out to be able to improve the processing chain on the stream. And the GPIO triggers is something that we would look at for a next generation of product, but we don't have that interface on there today. Okay, I'm taking a quick look at our time here. I know that we're starting to get a little bit close to the end of our presentation, so I'm going to go ahead and leave my contact information up. If you would like to reach out, feel free to contact me directly, and I will, if I don't know the answer to your question, I'll certainly pass it along and get back to you. If you have a question here and I scrolled past it and didn't get a chance to answer it, I will be going through these after the webinar, and I will try and get back to everybody who had questions in the next day or two as well, to help answer those questions. So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to hearing from you and seeing if there's opportunities here for us to work with you with our Wave CA product. And stay safe, and I look forward to talking with you again. Take care. Bye-bye.